Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Monday's Survive and Thrive webinar. My name is Chris Fordy, and I'm looking forward to another valuable and action-packed hour with you guys. Can you just, for those of you who wouldn't mind, can you just put your hand up or just say, yes, I can hear you, just to check? Yeah, great, Nathan, thank you. Yeah, loads of hands going up. Super. Okay, well, let's get started. Now, yeah, great, thank you. So just for a bit later on, I won't ask you this yet, but we're going to just talk about where we are and some of the challenges we have and how we can help. So just think about where you are right now, and anything will be useful to talk about today. We've got some subject matter to go through with you, but I'm also keen to make this a slightly more open session where we can help you get some action and move forward effectively. So let's just crack on. As you know, and we always say at the start, our goal is to help as many people as we can through these challenging times. So please just let us know what we can do and how we can help it. So let us know, or think about a little bit later on, or even after the session, how we can help you best, how we can help you move things forward as effectively as possible. And yeah, please tell others about these sessions that are gifted, both the webinars and the gifted coaching sessions. If somebody you know in business is challenged or just wants to talk about something, please let us know about them, and we're more than happy to help as many people as we can. And I thank one or two of you for already doing this, but please post about the value you're getting and recommend us. So both within the Facebook and the LinkedIn groups, if you could provide recommendations to us, you can recommend me individually. I'd really appreciate that. It just helps to build momentum and visibility of what we're trying to do to get everyone through these challenges. So thanks for those that already have, and please keep going. Okay, so again, just a quick, for those of you that come regularly, quick word on how you're feeling and a score, and we'll see where we go for the end, if that's okay. In the chat box, which is down in your control bar. 7, Amin, brilliant. 7, Damien, great stuff. Feels like 7 for Mark, great. Feels like we're getting some consistently positive scores. Above 5 would be considered to be positive. Nathan, got some good ideas and plenty of things to work through. Great, Nathan, great. 7.5. Paul, 7. Abdul, 7. Great stuff. Great, we'll keep those coming. And we're going to get you to mark yourself later, and hopefully we'll at least get half a point, if not a point higher. We're getting closer to the 10, so it gets more and more difficult to improve. But I'm going to talk a little bit now about mindset, both for ourselves and our teammates. You've talked quite a lot about these things. Just a couple of things for you to consider for yourself and then for others around you. So here's a simple, you might want to make a note of this because and start to think about where you are personally and also your team, if you should have them, or anyone around you. So it's a simple calculation that your performance and those around you, the performance is the amount of potential you have or they have, less the interference that's going on. Okay, so it's potential less interference. Any idea in the chat box what interferences might be going on right now? So if you know your true potential, where you could be if you had no interference whatsoever going on, what interference are we currently feeling at the moment? Market circumstances, absolutely mean that's interference. Not being able to see patients, Matthew. Bang on. Ceiling prices, yeah, okay. COVID is a massive interference, absolutely. And your cats as well, Nathan. Yeah, kids, we're on lots of calls with people. Their children are causing interference. Motivation, Mark, thank you. That's very relevant. So yeah, so there's external interference. The news, Abdul. Really interesting. Great stuff. So there's external interference and then there's internal interference, and sometimes we can mix up the two. So things going on outside of our own heads and our own brains is clearly interference, and there's some things we can't do things about, but there's things we can, and what we can do is think about our thoughts and our feelings. So a lot of those things you've described are all relevant to the interference we're feeling, but the biggest sap on our potential, I would suggest, is our internal interference, the how we talk to ourselves, how we think about ourselves and about our businesses and about the future. If you just do a quick exercise for me, if you'd like to draw, let's see if we can do this. I haven't got this as a thing, but take a piece of paper, draw a circle, and in it, write control. So draw a circle, and in it, just write the word control. And then I'd like you to draw a wider circle. So outside of that circle, draw a second circle. Okay, it doesn't matter what the gap is, but give yourself a little bit of gap, because in between the two, I want you to write the word concern. Okay, so inside the smaller circle, it will say control, and in the gap between the bigger circle, the outside circle, in concern. Now, this comes from a guy called Stephen Covey, and what he talked about was a lot of interference that we have internally is the gap between what we can control and our circle of concern. So the circle of concern being the bigger circle, the smaller circle being what we can control. Now, the bigger the gap between the two, the more fear we might have, obviously concern we might have, and interference we can have. Okay, so that gap is quite significant. So there's two things we can do. One is either reduce the level of concern. In other words, if I can't control it, don't worry about it. Now, that's easy to say, but that is part of how we can reduce interference. Because if we're not concerned about it, if we don't think about it, we can perhaps get things done more effectively, take more action. Now, news being a good one. There's lots of things going on in the world. Sometimes it's better not to know all the challenging things than to know. But the other thing we can do is increase our control. What can we do to change things? And that could be changing how we think and how we filter information and what we do with the information we get. So the smaller the gap between control and concern, the less interference we're going to have. Does that make sense, everybody? Just get your feedback if that makes sense. You might say it's a load of rubbish. That's okay too. Great, Matthew, Mark. So the question might be, yeah, some hands going up. Great stuff. Thank you, guys. Great, Nathan. Yeah, perfect sense. So this is what I'd ask you to think about. And as I say, we've got free gifted coaching sessions this week. So anyone that's not taking advantage of those, please get on them. And they're not just one session, just so you're clear. We're happy to provide some ongoing support for these things. So please think about that. Teresa, or have concern, but don't let it worry. Great differentiation, Teresa. Concern is being concerned with it, actually make it in our consciousness. Worry is when we let our fear get in the way. So concern might be logical, worry is typically emotional. That's what my other half does. Yeah, but that worries me. So their worrying worries you. Okay, that can be a challenge. Some people, I wouldn't say to sit in the worry phase. I would suggest I always think my mum isn't happy unless she's worried about something. But if that gives them a level of stability, that's okay. But when worry becomes too emotional and too challenging, we've got some problems. So just think about potential mindless interference, because this is where the more we can reduce that interference, the more we can really achieve our true potential. And most of us are only touching the surface of our potential. So now I'm going to talk to you about something now, and it's about what we call staying above the point of power. And for those of you that work with us quite a lot, you'll have seen this slide. And I've avoided using it up until now because I think a lot of us have been in a lot of fear, a lot of concern. But I think this is the time, as we've talked about before, now we're coming out of, or at least we're getting into stability, even though stability is a totally different norm. We need to think about how we manage ourselves and how we manage our teams, if we have teams or those around us. So this is what we call the point of power. And what we say is it's easy to go below the point of power and do blame, excuses and denial. So we can blame other people for the challenges we have. We can make excuses for the situation, blame that's blame of other things, whereas blame is typically other people. Or we can just deny we've got a problem, or deny a problem exists. Now, I don't think too many people are in denial right now of the big challenges we face, but sometimes then denial of what they need to do to change things. But if we're down here, we typically become powerless. We're typically more of a victim, so we let things happen to us. If we go above the point of power, we take ownership for our businesses, our lives, our health, our family, all the things that are most important to us right now. We're accountable for our results and responsible for our actions. I teach this on the induction training. Great, Nameed. Well, that's wonderful. I might even unmute you and get you to go through it, but that's great to hear that you do this. So, so for me, going above the point of power means it's about what I can do. I'm powerful because I choose how to change things moving forward. And my proposition to you all and to myself is where we are right now is directly related to all the decisions we've made and actions we've taken over time. So choose to be on this webinar, choosing the businesses we have, choosing the lives we have been about choices. Now, I totally understand this is why we've not brought this in perhaps for a week or for a couple of weeks since the challenge the challenge we're going through, because clearly COVID-19 is something we can't control directly. But what we can control is how we react to the situation right now. So I'll ask you to think about how you can become powerful rather than powerless, which is where we are when we go to the point of power. Now, for those of you with teams, and whether team and thinking about yourself is to take into a little bit more clarity, is if we start at the bottom, if we're in denial or people around us are in denial, they're actually saying that the typical situation is they don't like change. They're denying they'd rather just stay where they are, even though where they are isn't a great place to be. So we need to confront that and use evidence to show the real world how it looks and what it means to them and to us. Okay, so this is how we manage ourselves and others. If we're making excuses, I blame other things, we've got to look at the evidence to refute the excuse. Hi guys, I'm back. I do apologise. I had a slight tech challenge with my bandwidth. Could you just briefly just let me know that you're, sorry, let me just get the chat box up. Chat. Sorry guys. This is throwing me off a little bit, so I hope you'll bear with me a second. I just want to check chat. Great. If you just let me know you can hear me again, but not see the slides. Okay, thanks, Damien. Right, we'll get the slides up again. Let me just check. Share the screen. Sorry, guys, as I say, slight tech challenges. Back in the room. Great. Thank you, guys. Hopefully, could you just say, put screen if you can see the screen? Just type that in your tech box, screen. Thank you. Okay. So, so below the line, we excuses, consequences, and understand the evidence to refute the excuse. Blame when we're blaming other people, including ourselves, is the fastest way to kill culture. So it's about, great, thanks, Paul. Yeah, we can all see. So for me, it's about overcoming blaming other people and starting to say, take control. So above the point of power, we get responsible. Once we get people to the responsible level, they can get work done, but they might need some guidance. So that's, if you like, management. We need management of people that are responsible, but aren't accountable, take ownership. So we need to check in on that. So that's where reporting and KPIs, and this becomes really more important if you in your team that we check in more often. Now that, as I said, this isn't just about teams, this is about ourselves. So are we checking with ourselves regularly to make sure we're getting stuff done? Might sound crazy, but just do that as a regular activity. Accountability. They can manage themselves, so they can start planning things. This is more delegation, more effective delegation. We can start planning how they can move things forward effectively. And finally, ownership. This is where people are taking responsibility. So not just activities, but whole areas of our business or our teamwork can be fully delegated to someone that takes ownership. Hopefully that makes sense. I just wanted to sort of just cover more about the above and below the point of power for ourselves, but also just thinking about it for our teams. And obviously, if we get above the line, that, as we've said, getting above the point of power allows us to think about taking advantage of this opportunity phase that I think most of us should be in now. We've come through the instability, the lockdown phase, the fear, the concern, to get things sorted so into the new norm and start to actually make some plans. And many of you have made your 90-day plans already. We're going to run, I'll let you know later, we're going to run the next 90-day planning day on a week tomorrow, a week Tuesday. So that will be the 14th of April. So please let anybody know. If you haven't been on it, please come on it. If you'd like to come on it again, just to get a refresh, because 2 weeks will feel like 90 days, I suspect. So please think about coming on to those sessions as well. Now, what I'm going to do after this slide is ask you how we can help, where you are and what we need to talk about. But I think these are the things we've talked about already. Planning, how are we planning? How are we with your leadership in terms of remote, online, frequency? And Friday, obviously, we talked about virtual leadership. How are we with our business finances, our cash flow, our business interruption loans, or alternatively overdraft? We know Jason, who's regularly on these calls, had an overdraft agreed quite quickly from his bank, which helped him enormously. Team, are we through those challenges? Are we getting on? And maybe we're planning what our team's going to be doing. As far as I'm aware, teams can still train. So what training can we get the teams to do, even if they're in furlough? So training can be performed during furlough, as long as they're getting paid the minimum wage. So if most of our teams probably are going to get paid even at 80%, I would hope most of our teams are above the minimum wage at that point, so they can train. What marketing we're doing, sales, and us, our health, our mindset, our finances. So hopefully the little session we did earlier was helpful about our own mindsets and your mindsets. So what I wanted to do today is just start to check in with you guys about how we can help. Maybe talk through with you any challenges you've got and what we can help you with today. So if in your chat box or even your Q&A box, please ask questions or let me know where you are, and we'll talk about some things that are going on for you right now and see if we can help one or two of you. So if anybody would like to talk about any challenges that we're currently facing, or anything about what we've already talked about, the interference situation, the above and below the point of power situation. Okay, I'm not getting anything at the moment. Maybe everything's on. Is everything, if there's no questions, then does that mean everyone is in a great place? Great, okay, thanks Damien. I've 2K of overdue invoices with one particular company and they're having financial difficulty. Yes. Okay, let's come on to that. Just keep those questions coming, everyone. Matthew, need to keep in contact with my clients and staff in a time when I can't trade. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. Difficult to know how to ask for payment, Damien. Yeah, I get that. Let's talk about that. I'm going to unmute you. Are you okay to be unmuted, Damien, Matthew, Mark? If you're not, if you say yes, Damien, great. Just let me know you are, because I don't want to put you on the spot. We're struggling financially. We've applied for all the support available, can't get through to the bank. Haven't heard, yeah, the C bills. Great, okay. So Matthew, Mark, and Damien, we're going to unmute you shortly. Just talk through things with you individually. Nathan, if you just put yes, if you're happy for me to have a chat with you, I will do that too. So let's start with Damien. And let's see what we can do. So Damien, I am going to unmute you. Let me just get that sorted, participants. Damien, can you hear me, or can you say something? We'll check you're unmuted. You might.
Hi, Chris. Can you hear me?
Hi, Damien. Yes, I can. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming on. And I'm not sure where we go with this, but let's just see how we can help.
No problem.
So you've got obviously a significant. Just for clarity, is that single invoice or two codes at multiple invoices?
That's 2 invoices, but this is a really good client, probably one of my best clients. And when I spoke to them on the phone, basically they said that they've got a lot of outgoings, they've got nothing coming in, and they're basically in the hands of the bank at the moment. And I think really, depending on how long this situation lasts, will depend on whether or not they actually survive or fail.
Yes.
But after having that sort of quite candid conversation with him, I couldn't. It seemed very difficult to bring myself to ask him for him to pay the invoices, and as a result, unfortunately, that could end up. It could end up putting me in difficulty if this goes on for a long time, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And thanks for being so open. I'm sure we're all in similar situations. So let's just talk through a few things. So do I guess from what you've said, you sort of got to the point where you didn't want to ask the question.
Yes. Yeah.
I suspect most of us have done the same, because we feel, we feel challenged. We understand people's challenges. What just as a matter of interest, in terms of, let's just think about a couple of things. What would the 2K represent from their business in terms of turnover, etc.? Is that a significant amount themselves, or are they a large?
No, they're quite a large company, to be honest.
Okay. So while they are struggling, yeah. So go on.
So I would say that from their perspective, it's probably a low amount in comparison with what they normally turn over.
Yeah. Okay. So that doesn't necessarily make it any easier, but at least it might position it as they'll probably be looking at the big, the big stuff.
Yeah.
The feeling I've had, Damon, talking to many people, is if you remember that sort of the 5-stage process, the lockdown phase, everyone wanting to freeze and don't pay anything, don't do anything.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things we can consider is when the time is right, whether that's now or a bit later on, is keeping in touch with people to gauge that, coming back and saying, look, I appreciate, you've got challenges, we all have challenges. This doesn't represent a massive amount to you, but it is a massive amount to me.
Yeah, sure.
And the sort of questions I'd suggest is an open question. It's easy to have a closed question of, will you pay me? Are you paying me? Which is a yes/no answer. And by making it a yes/no answer, we're more likely to get a no than a yes right now.
Yeah.
So what are some of the sort of open type questions we can ask them if we were to do so?
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm finding it difficult to. What's sort of going through my head is that because they have been a really good client, I would expect them to be in the future, and they've never had a problem paying in the past, and so just I don't want to. I really don't want to sort of tarnish a relationship there that could be. I don't know. I'm just finding it a bit difficult to know, really.
Totally get it. So a couple of things, because and just so we're clear, this isn't just for you, and I think it's for us all. So hopefully, I really appreciate you raising the issue. So the first thing is, what's the evidence that asking to get paid what you're owed would tarnish your relationship?
Well, putting it like that, you'd think, well, there isn't anything. It's I suppose it's but the feeling that we're sort of all in this together, and we're trying to help each other. I suppose that's my where I find more of a stumbling block. I think under normal circumstances, I don't have any problem asking people to pay me what they owe me. But
Yeah.
in the current circumstances, it's like we are in this together. They just trying to get through this together and help each other. And part of that is potentially not necessarily asking for money, I suppose, if you know what I mean, because that is one of the biggest stumbling blocks that businesses are facing at the moment.
Yes, it definitely is. So part of the grown-up conversation is acknowledging the situation. Okay, so we're all having challenges and we're all in it together.
Yeah.
However, obviously, I need some form of payment on something that's due.
Yeah.
To move things forward. So the open sort of question would be how much, how much could you pay me now? How much could you pay later? Now,
yes,
the answer to that could be zero, but
yeah.
it could be something.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. That's not a bad way of paying of looking at it, to be honest. Yeah.
And I think it's quite right given where they are, and you could probably research this fairly easily on. There's companies that if you type due diligence in, you can get information on companies.
Right.
Or if you've got any idea what the turnover would be, if you know it's that they're hundreds of thousands to millions, then talk about this is a tiny percentage of your turnover.
Sure.
It's a percentage of mine.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So appreciate we're all in this together, but any and just ask if there's a grown-up conversation is what can you pay now and what can you pay later.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Sure.
Does that help?
Yeah, no, that helps a lot. Yeah, thank you very much, Chris.
And look, if you're open, you've got a great tone to your voice. If you're just open and honest, it's very difficult for someone to damage a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. Yeah.
Brilliant. No, you're really welcome. It's a challenge. Several people, if you look at the chat, have said something similar.
Yes.
And I know I've had to do this with myself because we're seeing things change day by day. So all we're doing at the moment is just being grown up and just saying, look, we can make some payments, but we've got to just maybe have a plan.
Yeah.
And just see what. Just have a plan to do that and create what we call a payment plan.
Yes.
But what you can then say, if they say, well, I can pay something now and hopefully something now and then a bit later, just say, would you mind just emailing, make the payment would be really appreciative. But then just put in an email what your plan is that we can monitor together.
Yes.
And now together means we're sitting next to each other. We're not sitting across the table.
Yeah.
So we can monitor together. I want to support you guys, but obviously I hope you want to.
Yes.
But the payment is due. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
It's acknowledging that they should be acknowledging the payment is due.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. Brilliant.
Well, please let me know how you get on. And obviously,
I will do.
if you're going to share that with the team, I'm sure that will be useful for everybody too.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Right, I'm going to mute you and then I'm going to unmute. Let's, I don't know, Damien Matthew. Keeping in contact, need to keep in contact with my clients and staff in a time I can't trade. So Matthew, are you okay? I'm going to unmute you now. Matthew, let's talk. So Matthew, welcome. Are you there, Matthew? I think. Matthew, are you there? Matthew, I'm going to come back to you. Perhaps you could just type if you're okay at some point. I'll mute you and come back to you a bit later on. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Matthew, Mark. Okay, struggling to make myself at the moment. There's no good at working on my own. Okay, Mark. Let's at least let you know that you're not alone. So, Mark, are you there, Mark? Should be unmuted now. Oh, hold on. Let's unmute you. For some reason, it's not allowing me to unmute you right now. Sorry, Mark. What's going on? Let's just double check where we are.
Hi, Chris, can you hear me?
Ah, yes. Are you there, Mark? What's up,
I
Mark?
am. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. And hopefully we can help you. So just expand a little bit on where you are and what's the
Well, I've
challenge.
spent the last 5.5 years working at 90 miles an hour, 6 days a week, and built up a really good business. You know, got lots of people working around me, got some great business that's coming up, but I need a buzz around me, and I need to know, have a focus, and know what's going to happen in the future. I've had a plan,
Yep.
and it's like this situation we find ourselves in. It's like, well, how quickly do I need to get back to customers? Because it doesn't matter that I don't get back to tomorrow or the following week, because I know I've got lots of design work to be doing. Because I know that when it all the lockdown finishes, obviously we can get on and we can get back to the customers, and they're the sort of people that won't, fingers crossed, be affected by by the monetary side of it. But again, I don't know, and it's the unknown. And I like to. I probably must be a bit of a control freak, possibly. I like to know what's going on, but I just like to be busy and work on adrenaline a lot of the time.
Okay, good. Well, I guess there's quite a lot of that going on right now. But well, perhaps knowing your case, if you've just sort of come to a halt, that's the challenge, isn't it? If you run on adrenaline and then things sort of it's coming down off that, I guess it can be a challenge.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, I don't, I work long hours, and I have done, for the 5.5 years that we've been open to build up the business, and I do find it very odd that there's nobody coming in the showroom. There's no, yeah, we are working on designs, and we are fortunate. We're working on a house where the customers have moved out, so we have one man on site, basically, so it's a safe working environment and all that. But
yeah,
keeping our cash flow going. So that's not stressing me too much. I think it's just I feel like I'm a bit like in a holiday mode at the moment, and I feel guilty for sort of not getting out of bed at like 7:30, getting into work for 8:30 and working till 7 o'clock at night. I feel guilty going home early. It's crazy, really.
Okay, and would you choose to have that guilt?
I thought it might go away, but I feel if I'm not working really hard now, that I'm gonna. I should be working hard, and then when it actually come out the other side of it, I'm a little bit concerned that will I be able to re-energize myself, or have I sort of got myself into a retirement mode?
So, if just about interest, if your your best friend was saying the same thing to you, that they feel a bit guilty that they're not working as hard as they used to, even though when we come out the other side of it, we're probably going to be working even harder. What would you say to them?
I'd just say probably enjoy it whilst you can.
Okay, so who should be your best friend?
He's going through a bit of a nightmare at the moment. He's a managing director of a big business, and they're really, he's got a lot of pressure on. He's had to load loads of staff on, furloughed a load, and they've gone from where they had like £10 million in the bank to they're going to have to go to the bank to borrow money next week. So he's struggling himself with it at the moment. So we sort of have conversations generally, but it's not because I don't want to put anything on him. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that he's got it a lot worse than I have at the moment.
No, I get that. And look, please, if we can help him in any way, just mindset-wise, just get it. Please get in touch. I guess what I'm saying is we should be our own best friends.
Yeah.
So your advice your advice from your best friend to you is really what you should be. We should be taking ourselves.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't serve us to feel guilty. Full stop. Nobody wants us to do that unless it does something for us, creates a positive outcome. It's just a level of stress or a type of stress we don't need.
Yeah.
And it's just a choice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's easy to say, I know, and that's okay. But just going back to what you said, so please consider that. And look, let's have a coaching session this week on this in a bit more detail. But you said not getting in touch with the customers is a challenge. Is that what's the reason that you're not? Is that
I think that I know that I don't need to get back to them immediately because there's not an urgency about it. Whereas normally, I've sort of leave myself like a week or a week and a half between sort of with customers saying when I'll get back to them and rebook them in. So it gives us enough time because we have been really busy over the last 6 months. So I tend to sort of work on last minute sort of .com a little bit sometimes, whereas and again, it's probably working on adrenaline. It's like last minute, right, they're coming in tomorrow, let's make sure it's all ready, da, 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 da. Whereas we don't have that worry at the moment because it's obviously just, if it doesn't get done this week or next week, it doesn't matter because it could be another month or two before this sorts itself out. So I think that's the thing that I'm struggling with. Is I'm not putting deadlines on myself, and like your 90-day planning and all that. I haven't got my head round motivating myself to plan properly for it, and I feel a lot guilty about that as well.
Well, I could give you a whole list of things you feel guilty about if you want to, but it is a choice ultimately. It's a funny thing, and to be perfectly honest, I doubt there's many people that won't empathise with you. But the crazy thing is, nobody really wants us to feel guilty about anything. Especially if there's no evidence. If you were sitting on it, doing nothing when the business needed you to do a lot, then that might be a reason to get active rather than guilt driving us. There's a lot more positive. There's a lot more positive drivers than the negative driver of guilt. That should so. Here's the deal. Most of us, and it'd be interesting to know where you are, Mark. There's moving away from pain and moving towards pleasure in terms of motivation. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
So some people prefer to be moving away from pain, and some people naturally move towards pleasure, either goal, the success, etc. Where would you, if you had to put yourself one side of a line or the other, what motivates you more? Moving away from concern and challenge and maybe guilt, or moving towards the vision of success?
I think because the business has been in 5.5 years. I've been trying to move away from pain.
Yeah. Because
obviously you've got the initial setup and the cost of all that, and then you're building up your customer base. And I don't think that I've ever got in the last 5.5 years to the point where I've thought about moving towards pleasure.
Right. Okay. The real challenge that most of us have, interestingly enough, is that if we only move away from pain, we typically just move far enough away. If you imagine it being the fire on your backside, we typically sprint enough away so that our arse isn't burning, but then we sort of slow down till the fire catches up with us.
Yeah.
So the real value of moving towards pleasure is having some real goals and vision to move towards, which tend to inspire us to take more action, not because of action for action's sake, but because we know the rewards that we deserve to get as a result of taking those actions.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I think the problem well, not a problem. It's not a problem. We started off and we've had a cracking first 3 months, and I thought this is how we've turned the corner here. I thought 2020 is going to be the year. And it's like I've had the sales taken out my wind out taken out my sales a little bit because of obviously what's happened. And I just think, oh God, something else just to keep, like pop up and think, right, okay, I've got it. We've got this one cracked. And then suddenly it's not.
I get it. It's the challenge we have, Mark, is that, this is a massive one. So we know this is probably the biggest. This could be the biggest one most of us face in our business careers. So there's no belittling it at all. But a great man once told me a while ago is business. The job of a business owner is to solve problems. So if you don't like problems, get out of business.
Yeah.
So I get it, and it sounds very flippant to say it, but what we need to do is to plan what it looks like on the other side. Do you feel just how confident are you, where 10 is very confident and 0 is not confident at all, that your business will survive this situation?
At the moment, I would say 8.
8. So you think that would get up to very likely that the business is going to survive through it?
Oh yeah, I feel, but I've always been like that. You've got to be, haven't you, in business, or else you shouldn't be doing it. Basically, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and take the, the ups with the downs,
Yep.
the analogy, I suppose, it's like playing golf. You think you've cracked it one day, you go out and you have a really great round, and then the next time you play a load of rubbish. So it's one of those. It's like, but that's business, isn't it? Some days are good,
Yes.
some days are bad, and you accept that. You've got to do, or else you won't do it. You just go work for somebody else.
So what I suggest we do, and I'd like to spend a bit of time with you if you're good for this week, is let's think about what it's going to be like the other side of this, how great it could be.
Yeah.
Because if we get through the other side, see, just getting through is a massive win for many businesses. And why would I say that? I don't just mean that you've made it, but what's it going to look like the other side of this in terms of the marketplace?
Yeah. Yeah.
What will be some of the good things?
Well, what will be the good things? I don't want to know, because at the end of the day, I think there's a lot. We've got a lot of competition in Harrogate, obviously, and we're in a situation where it's the survival of the fittest, I think. And if we come out and we're stronger, we'll be stronger because of that. Obviously, because in Harrogate, there's probably, well, I think there's about 80 or 90 different kitchen showrooms. I fortunately decided to move away from just doing kitchens and moved into the whole house, which is the two things that have kept us going at the moment. We're doing a full house renovation. So sometimes I've looked at it and gone, you know what, you make more profit in certain elements of your business, but by diversifying and doing different things has helped. So I think that we'll be stronger. And I think that basically that we should be, well, again, depending, and this is the concern, if you go into a depression, which is some stuff that you hear about on the news, that it's that bad, it's going back to the 30s, then what do you do then? But they're the things that I'm not confident about. It's just the unknown.
Cool. And I get that, and you know, we all can have those fears and concerns, and this isn't to suggest everything's going to be amazing on the side, but the challenge is business will still be done on the other side of this, and if we get through it effectively, unfortunately for them, but some competition will go by the wayside. So
Yeah.
the marketplace for us just getting through this can be quite effective. You know, can be quite a cool place to be. If we go into depression, if you go back to COVID's concern and control, we can't control that, and we don't know it's going to happen. So I'd suggest having acknowledgement to it, but not letting it concern us effectively, is going to be the most effective for people to actually get through this and win on the other side.
Yeah, but I think, you know, when we went into a recession to 08, 09, you know, I lost my business, as you know, Chris, if you remember. But there's that part of me holding me back a little bit as well, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm supplying a luxury item to a lot of people. You know, a lot of people can make their kitchen last, or their bathroom will survive another couple of years, like a new car. You'll just do with it, won't you? So we're not supplying something that's a necessity. You know, I'm not supplying food. I'm not supplying. You know, when the restaurants reopen, people will go back out and go to the restaurants, and they'll go to the bars. They'll probably make a lot more money because there'll be people going stir crazy, obviously. But I think with kitchens and stuff like that, the business that I'm in, that I think if things do get really tight and this does create a massive recession, then obviously that is going to be a long-term problem for me.
You might be right, Mark, and that's why we're looking at it. There could be another way of looking at it. There could be. Do you think there might be a few people in Harrogate now that are locked down, thinking, "My kitchen's a mess. I wish I could get it refurbished."
Well, I'm hoping so.
Well, you know, perhaps there are people that are very active that don't normally sit in their kitchen for that long, but are having to do so now.
No, well, it was interesting. I was on the webinar. We're talking today, I think it was a lady builds houses, and she was moving into garden rooms, and then she said, "Oh, we'll do home office." I was thinking actually, home office is going to be a big thing. So that's something that I am going to be working on quite.
Great.
You know, over the next few months on the marketing side of it, because it's something that I wanted to do anyway. So there will be a positive out of it, because I think there will be a lot more people realising that the digital technology and stuff like that, it can work from home. They'll just need a home office. So that's something
cool.
Out of it. Yeah.
I'm looking at mine. I think I can do that. So look, here's the deal. Firstly, if you haven't, I don't think you come on the planning sessions yet. Come on a planning session next Tuesday.
Okay.
and make a plan for the future, not just the next 90 days, but get some clear goals for past 90, but plan 90. And look, maybe you and I could speak in a bit more detail. But look, this is a great time to communicate with your clients. You don't need to necessarily, I'd suggest enjoy the fact that you can slow down a bit without creating too much concern for you, but then have a systemized plan to communicate and connect with your customers and the rest of the more wider marketplace. This is a great time to market right now because most of our competition won't be. And there will be people that are saying, I could do with a referral from my home, especially those that are locked in there right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Super. Hopefully that's been useful, Mark. Thank you so much for sharing. And I hope to catch up with you soon.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Right, Mark. Okay. Thanks, guys. And there's lots of great comments. Yeah. Good time to good time to engage. Great. Matthew, sorry, I was just going to come back to, I think Matthew, we were struggling with your microphone. Shall I just try again, Matthew, just see if we can come on? I'm trying, Matthew, let's just try and, oh, you're actually unmuted, Matthew, I think. Do you want to just try speaking again? I'm going to mute you and then unmute you. That's mute, Matthew, unmute. Just try speaking again, Matthew, if you're there. No, I'm afraid it must be your end. Sorry about that. I'm going to mute you again. Okay. Was there anybody else? Nathan, I think you had a challenge. Let's just, Nathan, if you're still there, give it a go. I'm talking. Trying the mic. Right. One last try, Matthew. Are you there? Can you speak? Sorry, mate. Let's try and do something next time. Be great to catch up with you. Cool. Okay. So, Nathan, I know you had a challenge. Let me just come to you, Nathan, if you're there. Or, yeah, there we go. No, Nathan. Right, Nathan, can you speak? Nathan?
Hi, good afternoon, Chris and everyone.
Great. How are we doing?
Not too bad. Like I say, just struggling with... I've got two main challenges at the moment, and one of the challenges is kind of having a knock-on effect on the other.
Yeah.
So we've got a plan, thanks to your excellent 90-day planning session, and we've managed to find an opportunity that exists.
Great.
We've started putting some wheels in motion in terms of marketing, but because of the financial situation that we're in at the moment, which is a similar position to Damien, we've had clients that have basically dropped off the face of the earth. That we're trying to contact and we can't reach them at the moment. I've had to furlough the team, which has the knock-on effect of putting everything on me. And because of that, I haven't had as much time as I would like to focus on the opportunity that's out there at the moment. And when it comes to the financial situation itself, there's one project that we have ongoing and need to get completed to be able to invoice, which is obviously taking up a lot of my time as well. But the immediate financial situation is that I've been completely unable to get hold of the bank at the moment. I've been calling, and after about 2 hours of waiting on hold, it seems to just knock me off automatically.
Oh no! Which bank are you with?
It's Lloyd's that we're with.
Right.
We have applied for the Sybil's loan, but just haven't heard anything back from that as of yet. And we've also applied for the grants, but obviously they're just getting paid out as and well when the council are able to get round to it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a waiting game, but at the same time, I know there's that opportunity out there, and I know I need to put some time towards it. But because we need to get money in as quickly as possible, I'm finding that hard to dedicate the time towards that. Okay,
I get that. So just quickly, so you're working on a project that you need to finish to invoice,
yes.
And you're confident. Sorry, how confident are you that having invoiced you'll get paid? Just as a matter of interest.
Well, I spoke. We had a good conversation with the client about this. He's a really good client, really understandable client. He knows that things have been slowed down because of the situation.
Yeah.
I did say to him or ask him, if we get our part done, the building of this site, are you going to be able to put the content up there and get the photographs that it needs and everything like that? And he said that he should be able to because he has the time, but he can't make any promises. However, the business is still trading and they're still, making money and everything. And he's said there shouldn't be any issues financially. But obviously, until that money's in our bank account, it's still an unknown.
Did you at any point, or have how much have you thought about maybe changing the process by which just, as simple as this, just ask for some payment, change invoicing, get some payment now?
We have done, yeah. I've spoken to him about that. He doesn't particularly want to do that at this moment in time because from his point of view, if I were to, touch wood, I hopefully don't, but if I were to get ill, he could have paid us that money and then us be unable to fulfill our end of the project. So I can understand where he's coming from on that regards as well.
Okay. That will be my first point of call, is just sort of try and break it up and say, look, or at least, get some payment, just break it into smaller chunks. Because I totally get that. But, the current payment is at the end when this has happened. I'd like to break it into these 3 chunks. So you're going to get this next week. I'd like a payment then. And just a suggestion. And we try, as you know, in coaching not to give too many suggestions. But that's what I would be looking at, is just trying to break it up and have that grown-up conversation that I totally get it. But also we do need the cash to flow for everything that's going on. And if they're a good client and they like and respect what you do, there might be a chance there. Just an idea.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. I'll try approach him about that.
The other sort of thing that might apply is in your marketing. If you're marketing out for new clients, I think you said you're looking at marketing for marketing out to the marketplace. Is there anything you can offer that is relatively low investment level, which might be a review or a report or something that people could buy as a first point of interaction with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been doing a lot of reviews and giving advice for free just to help people out.
Yes.
This new opportunity that's out there, it was stemmed by the conversation with the barbecue person who was on one of these sessions the other day.
Oh, Andy. Okay, great.
Yeah, Andy, that's it. The way that he's transformed his business so quickly by getting in touch with his web developer, we've kind of thought, well, if we can do the same for businesses that are out there, that are stuck right now, if we can help transform their business digitally, that'd be fantastic. And it's something that I really want to promote. I mean, the realization was that's what we've been doing this whole time. It's just we haven't come up with one name for what it is that we do. So
great.
I know the opportunity is out there, and I'm working with some people on how we can promote it and get it out there. But again, balancing the time to come up with the marketing, do his own landing page and put the finance, that marketing requires some funding for it to work as well that we just don't have at this moment in time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I if it helps to have a chat offline, please give me a shout. One thing that we used to do in my first business, which you might know was tech, IT based, was we do things like we'd offer we could make it easy to buy as part of what we teach in Action Coach, which is offer something of relatively low cost, but obviously right now will generate a small amount of revenue if you multiplied it as a report and investigation, and offer it at a price that is valuable. And then the other thing you can do is say, if you were to engage with us moving forward, we would take that off your initial investment off the price of any project we do, so that for them it's not a sunk cost; it's a cost of actually maybe moving forward into something else. And we found that really valuable as a point of interest for people going, oh well, okay, so if I am interested in it, your initial report is this much, which is only a fraction of what a project might be. But then I'm not losing that money. I'm going to get it if I engage with you moving forward. Hopefully that's useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. But have a chat separately. So thanks so much, Nathan. I'm going to mute you now if that's okay. So just we're sort of coming towards the end. Hopefully that's been useful for the people we spoke to, but also everybody. I can see some great comments, and I think it was actually Matthew didn't get on the call. Maybe it wasn't, but or maybe it was Mark talking about not having people to talk to and maybe not losing touch. Well, this is a great opportunity, I think, for us to get together and work together. So thank you everyone for your comments, etc. Just to wrap up then, before you please stay on, just want to wrap up because I have got. Please remember the gifted coaching sessions. Several of you, Mark, Nathan, if you want to take advantage, please do. This is what we're here to do, and let other people know. Mark, if you let your friend know, really happy just to have a call. There's no obligation. We're just going to help people get through this, and we'll hopefully benefit on the other side. But we're happy just to do so. So we've got Monday, Wednesday, Friday webinars. Now Wednesday, I've got Andy Lott from Positive Accountants coming on board to talk about all things financial, everything to do with the financial part of the challenges we're facing right now. So he's going to answer your questions. So please come on Wednesday, recommend other people do. And Nathan, it might be useful for you to ask him a question, but I'd definitely get back to your bank pretty quick and just keep on with them. Yeah, so we're going to run the next planning session Tuesday the 14th of April. So Mark, I don't think you've run that. Please plan to come on there. I'm sure we'll help you get some bit more clarity of vision for the future and what you're going to do in the short term. Please make a note before you, as a result of this call, before you do anything else, just make a list of things you're going to do, because information, having a good webinar is only valuable if you're going to do something different. Yeah, thanks for your kind words. And on that note, just if you could share your thoughts, I think Tracy's already said that's helpful, which I'm really pleased for. Please share your thoughts, and maybe out of 10 from where you are and where you're going to, hopefully we'll get at least half a point increase. But 7 to an 8, great, Mark, brilliant. Well, we'll really get there. I'm so pleased. Please get back in touch. 6.5, I think that's a half point, Matthew, isn't it? I'm sorry we didn't get to speak. Please drop me a line, drop me an email, and maybe we can talk separately if it's useful. I'd love to do that. Damon's an 8, great. Yeah, please do. You probably know, but my email address is chrisfordy, Fordy, @actioncoach.com. So please just drop me a line. Great. Okay, guys. On that note, if there's nothing else, great. Helpful session, Nathan. 7.75. I'll 0.25 increase. I'll take that. That's good. There's lots to do. Yeah, let's get some marketing done. Let's just think about marketing doesn't have to cost that much. There's lots of really quite relatively cost effective, including referrals, strategic partners, approaching people who might be able to introduce you to people that you can help. So please think about ways of doing that. Wonderful, guys. Okay, if there's nothing else, thanks for today. Please get on Wednesday. It's going to be another great session. I'll be putting some material together, but also we've got Andy Lott talking about the financial side of things and answering some questions. So please come on that, and we will see you on Wednesday. Thanks, Paul. Great. 8.5. I'm glad they're helping you. Great. Thanks to me. I'll see you later, mate. Or speak to you later. Thank you. Cool. Let's crack on and take some action.